I think he's such a lovable guy, and his playing is something to marvel at, and he inspires you in all different ways from a creative standpoint. So that will always be there. That's not going away. You have anything to say to Mr. Booth, Dave?
I think that's a nice tribute that he had, that he went out and got a dog the next day and named it Halen. You know, Ed's memory continues on in all sorts of ways.
Yep.
So I think that's great.
Absolutely. Dave, on the other hand, got an alpaca and named it Roth. That was like a brick. All right. So,
you know what? I know a guy around here who actually has an alpaca farm in Connecticut.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yes. A relative of a former relative. He had an alpaca farm, and when he retired from his regular day job, he bought alpacas, and now he has an alpaca farm. So yes.
Is he named Gary?
And let me tell you, their hair or their fur or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Oh, so soft.
Yeah.
So soft. I got a pair of alpaca socks from them. The best ever.
You have alpaca socks?
I did. I don't have them anymore. I wore them out. But yes, I had socks made from the alpaca.
Well, maybe if you wore them instead of wearing them out. They would have lasted.
Nah. Ba-doom, boom.
Hey, listen, you went a little hard on the they're so soft, so I had to go there.
All right, that's true.
All right.
But anyway, I recommend alpaca to anybody. Anyway, what's the next letter?
You were packing those socks.
All right, enough with your bad puns. Move on.
I can't help it. Letter number 7 comes from Devon Miller in Iowa, and he says, "Hey, Dave and Dave, I know you're grieving as much as I am over the news of Eddie Van Halen is gone, and one of the most innovative and influential guitar players that ever lived, definitely amongst the Mount Rushmore guitar greats. You've been hard-pressed to find a guitarist that lived through the 80s that wasn't influenced by EVH. Attaches a link to my humble tribute of all his guitar solos from the albums played on my home Frankenstrat. Hope you enjoy it." And here's a clip. Okay, Devon, well, nice job, man. Very cool, and thanks for sharing that. We appreciate it, but I'd like to hear an Elton John cover from you, Devon. Come on. I've been singing your song for how long? How many letters here? What do you think, Dave?
I have to say he did a very nice job on the tribute, and I think he said that there was a custom guitar. He made that?
I think he did.
Frankenstein, right? That was impressive. I got to tell you, because the paint job alone on that was incredible.
Absolutely.
And so hats off to you, Devon. I did listen to it. Very nice job. Very nice tribute. And great shirt, by the way. I have the same one in navy blue.
Wow, nice. Very nice. Letter number 8 comes from Joe Libro from Fort Lauderdale. He says, "I have a few comments. Thank you for all you do in waving the Van Halen flag. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the Decade That Rocked book. I bought it. It's awesome. But the black and white Van Halen pick should have been a fold-out like some of the others. Best pick in the whole book. And I am still reeling from the news of Eddie. I've followed them for almost 40 years, and it's like my brother passed. We invested so much in our favorite bands, plus social media and stuff. We all know so much about them, even though Van Halen was quiet. We love Wolf, Janie, and Val, and the whole Van Halen camp. I included an article about the top 8 Van Halen tribute bands I've heard the most, but I never heard you guys talk about Van Halen. Derek, who plays Eddie, and the boys are spot on. From the look to the stage to especially the sound, they do a great job and deserve more recognition. Take a look and listen. Thanks again for all you guys do, Joe Libro from Fort Lauderdale. Well, Joe, I got some news for you. Go listen to the September 2016 episode, which is number 6, one of our early ones, where Derek Fuller, the guitarist of Van Halen, was our special guest. So how dare you, Joe? How dare you? Any other questions, Dave?
No, I was just going to say the same thing. We've interviewed him.
Yes.
And, I mean, he's not on the same coast, so we don't see them play. We'd love to.
Yes.
But any Van Halen tribute band, we'll wave that flag high.
Yes.
Obviously, we're partial to Romeo Delight.
That's right, buddies.
But anybody, now more than ever, anybody playing Van Halen.
That's right.
I mean, put it out there.
Put it out there.
We're not going to have the opportunity to see the band anymore. So
That's
it's
right.
up to the rest of us now.
That's right. That's what Dave did to the alpaca. He put it out there. So, okay, letter number 9.
Man, listen. All right, we're going to put a stop to this right now because we're not going to do the whole rest of the episode.
All right, relax. That's my last one. That's my last one.
No, I know. I have to cut you off now because, you can't let it go.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Ryan. This is what happens when we start with a what if. Okay, letter number 9. Letter number 9 comes from Matthew Booze, and he says, I haven't finished listening to your top Eddie Van Halen musical moments, but I know this wasn't added as it never made it to an album, but the opening 32 seconds of It's About Time is unreal. It conveys a feeling of warmth, happiness, and joy. I can picture Ed just completely in a good place with a nod to Al, who comes in with a distinctive snare drum sound, and just two brothers sharing a moment. This intro tore me up since Ed's passing. The bond between those two is incredible, and it saddens me that Al won't look up from behind his drum kit and see Eddie smiling back at him. I hope that Al can sit down at the drum kit again, and when he looks up, he sees Wolfie smiling back at him, and Al can get some peace knowing that Eddie is still here with him. Matthew Booze. Well, Matthew, yes. I'm going to play this little clip here of the intro for It's About Time, right here. That song is very underrated. I love that song. Dave, I know you're a fan of this song, right?
Not like you are.
Oh, really?
I think it's no, because we talked about this once, and then we also talked about the Gary Cherone equivalent, right?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're getting confused. The lead single off of Best of Both Worlds.
Okay.
It's About Time, not It's the Right Time.
Oh,
okay, you're getting confused of the Mitch Malloy song. All right, Dave's officially old.
Yes.
He's officially old.
Well, no, I was officially old in February.
I know. Look what happened to the world. What happened to the world?
No, okay. Now I get it. Yes, that intro is unlike any other Van Halen intro.
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard that song, I thought I had the wrong radio station. I really thought I was listening to something else.
Right.
So that's somewhat unique. And yeah, I am a fan of that song. It's like the perfect reunion song.
Yeah.
Really rocking, and one of the better reunion songs Van Halen reunited with anybody. So yeah, absolutely.
And so anyway, as for Al, I think I can only imagine he must have felt like half of him is cut off. I hope that he can add some drums to some of the stuff that Eddie left behind. I mean, I think that would maybe be a cool way to go if there was some sort of stuff like that where they had, Eddie's material and maybe not make even like a whole song, but even if Wolf came in on bass and had, if they kind of filled it out, you know what I mean? And make it like a jam, like they're jamming with Ed, that would be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, you know what? I can see that.
More than anything else.
That would, more than anything else.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing Al would do.
This is actually leading into our next letter, which is a similar subject, but I can't really see them start getting Sam and Dave involved. Like, I just don't see that. I think that's just way too much. I don't think they can handle that. I think it would be cool if you had stuff that had Ed's riffs on it and Al and Wolf could work around it and turn it into like a jam and, it could be like Baluch Ethereum or something like that. You could almost make it like an Eddie Van Halen solo album that we always wanted. You know what I mean? And you could almost sell it like that. and let it be like a solo album that everybody always wanted, and they kind of just help put it together. I think that would make sense. You also got to get a strong producer on that, so someone who really knows what they're doing when it comes to that stuff. So that could be very
because
tricky.
you gotta do some mixing, you gotta do some editing.
Yeah, you need some hardcore people who know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Letter number 10 comes from Air Force J at Half Moon Bay, and he says, wow, talk about no love. I just rewatched the 1987 episode of SNL with Valerie and Ed in it, and as the show closes, she thanks Sammy, Alex, and Ed. Come on, can someone throw Mike a bone here? I know it was a small moment, but can he get a quick mention? Okay, well, the real reason for this letter is to touch on what seems to be a hot topic amongst the letter readers in the October mailbag, the music Ed left behind. All your thoughts and speculations on how the music may come out. I love all your thoughts and speculation on how the music may come out. However, I want to hear your thoughts on this, even though it may never happen. What are your thoughts on someone giving Van Halen's unreleased music the Biggie Smalls treatment? Here's what I mean. After Notorious B.I.G. passed away, there was a few albums released where the songs were produced by, with his remaining vocals that were paired with artists he actually associated with when he was alive. I think this move made it easier for fans to digest his remaining work. So what are your thoughts on the idea of passing off to singers in Van Halen history? I think this is an interesting topic, Jay, for sure. First of all, let me start by saying yikes on the Mikey thing. I don't know what the hell everybody has against Mike. That's kind of horrible. But, yeah, this is an interesting prospect. I think the question is, you need quality recordings of Ed. But I think it can't be just his compositions. I think it needs to have it balanced out. If you start writing songs, like full songs to it, I mean, I'm sure you could probably do it with a few, but it always sounds forced. I don't know what it is. Like, I've seen it done with other artists, not just Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls is a little different because he's just rapping. That's different. You could put all kinds of cool beats to it and stuff like that. It's not the same thing as making like an actual song. Not that rapping's not songs, but I mean like, it's just has a different flow. Like he had just a cool flow and, DJs can work around with beats and stuff like that. But with Sam and Dave, and they work so differently, I mean, I could just see that being a disaster. But I really think, like we said earlier, it would be an instrumental album with Wolf and Al. Dave, what are your thoughts?
I agree. It would really sound forced. You're right. It always does. It doesn't flow naturally.
No, and you always want it to, but it just never really quite clicks.
Yeah, so I think you just got to see what's there, what songs are finished, how far along the demo process they are.
Right.
Do you just release them as is? Do you clean them up a little bit? Do you add some instrumentation? Because then it really starts getting, like after Jimi Hendrix died.
Yeah.
He had a lot of songs he was in the middle of, and they would add new instrumentation to them, and it just, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You really got to find somebody who's doing it the right way,
right,
and not just doing it for the quick buck.
Of course,
so it's tricky. It's a slippery slope.
Right,
so
that's true.
We'll see, and I don't know. I mean, the other thing is, I don't know what kind of carte blanche the record company has now that Ed has passed away. Because it always seemed like Warner Brothers or whomever could never just release anything on their own, or they would have already.
But here's my question, Dave. First of all, I don't think they own anything going forward. Let me explain. I think they own what they released. I don't think all of Eddie's personal recordings at his own studio, I don't think Warner Brothers has their hand in that till. I don't think so, because...
No, I don't think so
And the other thing is, if you don't release it as Van Halen, which I'm sure they won't, they're not going to release it as a Van Halen album, because it's not going to have... I mean, if they do it like we said, it's not going to have vocals on, like... everybody thinks that Wolf is going to spend his days combing his father's house. This guy's got his own career. He's been sitting on his album. He wants to release this album. He wants to start his own career. Understandable. And don't get me wrong, I don't think he'll blow off his responsibility as Ed's guy, but I don't know. Maybe that'll be Alex's thing, because Alex has got more time on his hands. Alex knows he was there for every drop of it. So I'm sure, and I think Matt Bruck, who is Ed's main tech guy at 5150, I'm sure he'll have a hand in it. I don't think Michael Anthony, David Lee Roth, or Sammy Hagar are going to be anywhere near this stuff. anywhere near it.
I
don't
agree.
think
I agree.
any
I
of
agree.
it. Any
Yep.
of it. And let me tell you something. If you're going to get any vocals, I wouldn't be surprised if it was from Gary before those two guys.
It'll be something already recorded in the studio. They won't be recording anything new.
Yeah, well, whatever. But I mean, like, I just